You're listening to The Takeover with Daz and Lauren here on Life FM. And because it's a Wednesday night, it is time for Wellness Wednesday.
Wellness Wednesdays on The Takeover. Brought to you by station sponsor Kelli K Naturopath. Book your free intro call today at kellik.com.au.
Yes, she joins us right now over Zoom. Kelli K Naturopath, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, going well, thank you. Lauren's a little bit under the weather. Yeah, hay fevery, which is ironic considering hay fever was the last thing we discussed. But
that's right.
A bit more prominent tonight. But
try any of those remedies, Lauren?
I will have to. Yeah, it came on today, so I'll have to go back and remember all that we chatted about.
Yeah, that's it. But tonight, Kelly, we are talking about exercise and something which I'm sure myself and Lauren would love to know more about, as well as many people in Adelaide. Exercise, oh man, it's a really a difficult thing when you think about exercise, because there's many different ways I think to go about exercising. There's many different methods, routines, all sorts of stuff. But what would you say are the current recommendations for exercise, Kelly?
Yes, well, the Australian guidelines, so what they have recommended is that people between the age of 17 and 65 get at least 30 to 60 minutes of moderate exercise every day, or 5 days, at least 5 days a week, but ideally every day. And it could be a little bit less if you're doing more intense exercise. But you're right, like it's going to look very different for different people. According to their preferences, according to their physical capability. Really important to find something that suits the individual, I think.
Yeah, really interesting. I was not expecting 5 days a week. That's a lot. But in terms of actually what you do, like, is it better to do like cardio or strength training exercise? Like, there's so much out there. Like, what's the recommendation?
Yeah, so the cardio, both are really important. So your cardio is really important for your heart health, for your general fitness. And when we talk about, the 30 minutes, 5 days a week, generally we're talking about cardio. And then there's a recommendation that 2 to 3 times a week you add in some strength training, because the strength training is really important for maintaining good muscle, keeping, your strength up, particularly as you get older. Perhaps it doesn't seem so important when we're younger, but it is actually really important. It's also really important for our bone health and also for our ability to respond well to sugars in the diet. So for our blood sugar regulation as well, your strength or resistance exercise is really important there. And I think it's important as well to note, like, we use the term exercise. I'm acutely aware that some people are going to be really triggered by that word and really turned off. So sometimes it's easier to talk about movement and, how can you move your body better as opposed to the typical exercise we automatically think about going for a run or going to the gym. But it doesn't have to look like that for you as an individual.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, really good points there. But when we come back, Kelly, we're going to talk a little bit more about if exercise can ever be a bad thing for our health, which is a really interesting thing I'd love to explore, as well as some tips for being consistent with exercise. So we'll be having a chat with you right after Rudimental with Break My Heart. You're listening to The Takeover with Lauren and Daz.
Here on The Takeover with Daz and Lauren for your Wednesday. And it's Wednesday, which means that we have a Wellness Wednesday with, of course, Kelli K.
Yes, absolutely. Kelly, how you going?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic.
That's great. Now, we've been chatting about exercise. We were kind of talking about recommendations about how to do it, how long to do it. But is there any reason why exercise would be a bad thing?
Well, I don't think exercise is never a bad thing, but inappropriate exercise could be a bad thing. So if you're doing exercise that is outside of your ability or capacity, or if you haven't exercised for ages and all of a sudden go and do, decide you're going to do a 5K run or do some really intense exercise, then, probably not the best idea. May leave yourself vulnerable to injuries and whatnot. But I think, inappropriate exercise for you as an individual can be a bad thing. So if you need to get some advice around that, engage the services of a personal trainer or an exercise physiologist can be really good, particularly if you've got other health issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other thing where exercise can be tricky is if we're over-exercising. So over-exercising can be a stress on the body, and that can have negative health consequences down the track if we're doing too much for what we need.
Yeah, really good. I'm just having flashbacks now to, so I am not someone who runs, first of all. And I just remember having flashbacks to when these guys from my church were like, hey, Daz, you want to come on a run with us? And these guys are very much like fit and athletic. Yeah. And they do like 5K runs all the time or whatever. And that was not a great day. But anyway, but when it comes to exercise, though, consistency is key. And so could you tell us, Kelli, what are some good tips for actually being consistent in exercise?
Yeah, so I'd say number one is making sure that you choose the type of movement that you choose and when you do it and how often. Make sure it's realistic for you. Make sure it's something that fits in with your life without too much shuffling around, because otherwise you're just never going to be able to stick to it.
Yeah.
So that's really important. The other thing I would say is make sure you choose something that you enjoy, like try a few different things, maybe things that you're not, that you wouldn't think you would enjoy. Perhaps you'd be surprised. Even things like dancing, while it's not something that jumps to mind as exercise, really, really energetic and really good for your fitness. So, think about those types of things. You need to be able to enjoy it at least a little bit. And I guess the third thing I would say is rope in your friends and family. Like if you can get someone to keep you accountable or to go for a walk with you at a regular time every week, then that is amazing for kind of keeping that consistency up, and you're having the social connection at the same time as moving your body.
Yeah, I can absolutely vouch for that. I walk with my mum 3 times a week, and that's the only time that I'm motivated to do so because I get to chat with her while we walk.
Oh, that's really cool.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I got to say, I am totally behind the whole dancing as an exercise idea. I got to get onto that, and I need an accountable dancing partner, and then I am set to go. There we go. Oh, amazing.
Fantastic.
Kelli, thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Wellness Wednesday. And if they want to check you out, they can visit your website, kellik.com.au.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love you to check out the info there.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Kelli, thank you so much for joining us. And we hope to have a chat with you again very, very soon in 2 weeks' time.
Sounds good. Talk to you then.
Wellness Wednesdays on The Takeover. Brought to you by station sponsor Kelli K Naturopath. Book your free intro call today at kellik.com.au.